Esto es Podcastiando.
Welcome to Podcastiando. We're going to do the English version of the Spanish podcast we usually air on DFW in Wichita Falls. My name is Luis Medina, and I'm sharing the microphones with none other than JP Trevino. JP, how are you? Welcome.
Skinny, how you doing? I'm going to have to translate it as well. The English version of Podcastiando. My goodness, this feels so weird.
Yeah.
But anyways, we are ready. After 72 podcasts in Spanish. Man, this feels weird. Well, let's see how we translate the energy and the topics that we have for you guys.
Yeah, so for those of you who have kind of heard our podcast or seen our videos on our social media and wonder what are these guys talking about? Why are they, they're so animated and they're discussing all these topics and they just look they're having a lot of fun, right? And we are having a lot of fun. So we just want to give you a little insight because we have gotten a lot of messages right now to say, hey, when are you going to do something in English? So finally, we just said, all right, let's do this. So Podcastiando, which is podcasting in Spanish, we talk a lot about like things that are relevant in your community, whether it's politics. Usually it's going to be politics, but we talk just any cultural issue that affects you or kind of surrounds your community so you can be aware of, especially in light of the mainstream media, how they usually kind of neglect some topics so they don't want to talk too much about them or they just, trying to spin things usually. So in Podcastiando, this is kind of what we do pretty much head-on topics, right?
Yep. This is gonna be, like you said, something different. This is the first one that we're gonna do in English, and we'll see how it goes. Some of the topics that we're gonna be covering, they're strong. There are some hard topics, but hey, somebody has to do them.
Yeah,
right?
Somebody got to do it, especially in Spanish, since the neglect it's pretty far and wide. So anyway, let's go jump into very quickly. One of the first topics this week has been just created a lot of shockwaves as we heard the famous hot microphone in ABC News. And if y'all not familiar with it, JP and I have been working in media for the longest time. What, more than 15 years? Probably closer to 20 at this point. Which can tell we're old.
And that's and that's always an issue. A hot microphone basically is when you either, if you're in radio, you're in air and you forget to turn off your mic and you start carrying on a conversation with somebody else, or in this case, when you're talking bad about someone.
And we have plenty of examples. Sometimes they call it TV bloopers, whatever it is. You can find them on YouTube. They're hilarious to watch. Obviously, for the guy who is in the middle of it, it's not so much fun. And this week, actually, we had an issue with Amy Robeck. That's her name, the news anchor for ABC News, where there was a hot mic. She was talking, and she essentially was saying that she was so mad. She was furious. She used.
Why was she mad? Why was she mad?
Well, she used a different vocabulary, but she was mad because of the whole Epstein story. As we know, what happened with Jeffrey Epstein, high-ranking pedophile with connections to very, very influential people, both in the economic sector, the academic sector, politicians, and all that.
Nope.
Well,
I don't know. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
I don't want to know anything.
No, you better know it.
No. I don't know anything. I just gonna walk away. I'm gonna turn off my microphone. I don't want to have to do anything with this conversation. I don't want to wake up suicide.
Oh no! By the way, time for the disclaimer, right? But anyway, so. Amy Robeck was describing that she had the story about 3 years ago, which coincidentally, what was happening 3 years ago, JP?
We had some poll numbers saying that certain character of certain family from Arkansas was going to be the first female president of the United States. But something happened
and they said like, oh, never mind.
Go.
Yeah. Cancel the party.
It didn't go as planned. You can all go home. It's been a long night. She's not coming out. Thank you for coming. That kind of thing.
So when this information surfaced, it was in the middle of the election year between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. And obviously this information would have affected the Clinton name negatively more. So ABC, the higher ups at ABC decided to bury the story. They're like, we're not going to talk about that. So fast forward 3 years. Now the story blows up this summer, evidently. And so the whole point of the video, Amy Roback is very upset because she's like, I had the story, I had the sources, and ABC basically said, well, it's not up to standard, whatever excuse they made up. And she could not air that story. But for 3 years, she knew what these guys were doing. The network knew what they were doing. And they just turned a blind eye. And that's why now what's surfacing.
She could have won a Pulitzer.
Can you imagine? You know, a Pulitzer, that will be like, in journalism, that's the highest honor you can have, basically. You know, it's like the equivalent of like an Oscar for movies. You know, that will be for journalism.
Yeah, because at that point when she uncovered the story, it might have been the story of the year, maybe. But now with everything
not the decade.
that has happened, now is the story of the decade, of the century, because of all the names that he was ready to name,
to drop,
to drop in court, but unfortunately, he didn't make it.
So that's the state of affairs. We'll keep monitoring that story and see how it develops. And obviously, right now, prayers for Miss Roback, because her job obviously might be on the line, and hopefully not, but her well-being as well. Hopefully, she'll be fine, because she will be messing with some really important higher ups there. Anyway, on a different topic, and before we close our podcast, we want to mention something very, very important for the families. If you have a kid and you're listening, or if you're a teenager, this is important for you to listen, because the CDC came up with new statistics. They're kind of, how would I describe it? They're very, very scary. I don't want to be an alarmist, but this is information that should really grab our attention, and it's not really being widely reported right now, but it's worth really paying attention for. And he's talking about suicide rates among teens.
That's right. This report came out October 22nd, and basically what it says is that the suicide rate among children aged 10 through 14 has nearly tripled in the last decade, from 2007 to 2017. While the suicide rate among older teenagers has increased 76% between 2007 and 2017. The federal data shows, according to the report from the CDC, the suicide rate among the people between the ages of 10 and 24 has increased 56% over the last decade, as violent deaths continue to be the leading cause of death to that age bracket. These numbers are scary.
These are scary indeed, and has caused a lot of controversy, especially because there's a multiple, everybody's like pointing fingers, in other words, right? And multiple sources for this statistic to be such an increase in this atrocity. But the bottom line is this: if you as a parent are not involved in your child's life, somebody else's will, and usually that influence is not going to be a positive one. Doesn't matter what the system is. It doesn't matter. It can be ministries. It can be schools. Doesn't matter. If the parent's not involved, it's going to cause trouble. So right now we're looking into it. And apparently, according to the article, and correct me if I'm wrong, JP, the statistic is actually expected to increase.
That's right. That's right. And just like you said, if you are not taking the time, if you're not setting time aside to raise your kids, somebody else is going to do it for you.
If you have any comments or questions, feel free to put it on our social media platforms. We are, like JP mentioned, both in Spotify, we're in Facebook, we're in YouTube, Twitter, etc., etc. So if you have a proposal, or what do you think, we would like to know your opinion. Why do you think the increase in suicide rates among teens is happening? Do you have a specific reason? Let us know. And anyway, so that's how we're going to end up our podcast for today in this occasion. Once again, this is just giving you a little insight of what we talked during Podcastiando, in our Spanish version podcast that airs in both Wichita Falls, Texas and DFW. All right. Thank you for listening. My name is Luis Medina.
And my name is JP Trevino. See you next time.